Oh no, just a second. Sorry, the LinkedIn thing's gone. I'm going to have to just join in again. Just 1 second. I will get that. So we might still be broadcasting live on YouTube. So be careful. 1 second. Just go and sort out the LinkedIn's. 7. Right. Okay. Go live. Okay, right. We should now be live simultaneously on LinkedIn and YouTube. Apologies if you were just on YouTube waiting for us to get the LinkedIn connection. I am Nikki Larkin. I'm the host for today for the Business BoardCast. We are talking about Xero versus QuickBooks, which are probably two most popular that we see of the cloud systems. Sage is still obviously high up there at the moment, but on the serious cloud side, we see Xero and QuickBooks as being the two main contenders. Mm-hmm. So I am delighted. I have today Victoria and Olivia from the Orange team joining us on their debut on the Business BoardCast. So Victoria, can you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, so I'm Victoria. I've worked for Orange since September 2020. I'm currently in the tax team, so I do everything personal tax, payrolls, and I've also helped out with management accounts, bookkeeping, and some VAT returns as well.
Thank you, Victoria. And Olivia, can you introduce yourself, please?
My name's Olivia. This is my debut on any broadcast. I've been for Orange since June 2015. I qualified with Orange, and I work mostly in the stat accounts team, working on mostly statutory accounts, corporation tax returns, and helping out other departments.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. So just a bit of housekeeping. We are currently live, but you may be watching this on catch up. If you're watching live, please do feel free to ask us any questions regarding Xero versus QuickBooks on the comments. Sort of more obviously the general ones about the systems rather than specific, how do I post this here? Because we don't probably have time to do a whole Helpdesk call today. So please do ask us any questions and we will try and incorporate them all. We will be 30 minutes as always, so we will try and finish promptly at 1 o'clock. So if you are watching on catch up, however, and there's a question that we don't cover, please do feel free to contact one of us on LinkedIn. We're all connected on LinkedIn, so please do contact us and we'll be very happy to help. Okay, so let's start off. So what we're going to do today, I do have a clear favourite personally, but I'm not going to spoil of which one is my favourite. I'm going to try and consider the pros and cons for both of you and try and go with an open mind and see if we do have a winner at the end. Mm-hmm. So we're going to go through, I think we've got about 10 questions of different things that we're going to compare in the two systems. Both of you have used both systems, so I think that's a good comparison. That you've both got knowledge of both. But we're going to go sort of logically from the very start of how you set up through to the more complicated areas. So, Victoria, I'm going to start off with you to begin with. So I've heard all these adverts out there on Xero. I've been convinced. Also, my friend down the pub has said, "Oh, Xero, you must get it." Where do you start? How do you start from scratch with Xero?
So all you do is just type in Xero with an X into Google, and the subscription page will be the first one to select. Xero are currently offering a 30-day free trial for any business, so you can just have a little play around, see whether Xero is for you. At the moment, they're also doing a 50% subscription fee reduction. So there are 3 types of subscriptions that you can get. A starter, which is £6 at 50% discount, and that is for sole traders or new businesses. The standard, which is £13, which is for growing small businesses, and then the premium is currently £16.50, which is for the more established businesses. So you just need to select one of those, and then just that'll be the startup for the Xero software.
So how quickly could I get to actually just send out my first invoice? I'm like, I've got started a new business. I want to send out an invoice, but I want to do it via cloud.
Within the hour.
Do that within the app. Fabulous.
Yeah.
Okay, same question to you, Olivia. How quickly can I start from scratch on QuickBooks?
So you'll probably find that with some of these questions, a lot of QuickBooks and Xero answers will run in parallel. It's very similar. You can Google on for QuickBooks, and there are 3 packages in which you can have. One is for £6 a month, which is the Simple Start. One is £11 a month, which is Essentials, and one is Plus. Simple Start is for director only or small businesses. Essentials is for where you need a bit more than Simple Start, and for Plus are for more established businesses as well.
They're really more complicated ones
within the hour.
So just check that the prices that you've been both quoting are the current discounted prices, so they're not the ones that are going to go forever. At the moment, what on the top level package, Tori? What was the price that you had on
the
most expensive one?
Yeah, that is it.
Sorry, 26.
No, £16.50.
£16.50, and the most expensive on QuickBooks at the moment, Liv?
After accounting for the discount, it's £16.
Okay, so round one. On pricing, I'd say on ease of use to get in, it sounds like it's identical, but on pricing, QuickBooks seems to just slightly have nudged slightly. So if you're price sensitive, so round one to QuickBooks. Okay, let's go. What's the next one? Oh, how good are the training courses? So if you've not, you know, I've used like a dozen different systems, so sometimes I just dive in. But if you aren't someone that has used lots and lots of different systems, and you do need to have some proper training on them, how good are the training courses? So, Livia, this time I'm going to start with you.
So with QuickBooks, I find the system itself to be quite intuitive, and I find that the training courses follow that sort of track. The in-person training courses are about half a day, and I find that they go through the steps logically and simply, getting you to know the basics. But there's also online training videos to go further into detail in each area, and areas that aren't necessarily covered by the training course.
Excellent. And the same to you, Victoria.
Yeah, so Xero offer a Xero Central package, which is where all of the support is. So you can ask any question and you potentially will find an answer that somebody's already asked. They also offer the training courses, whether that be on a really niche topic of how to do an invoice and how to send that to your client, or whether that's just an all-round system training course. So they only do online only, and they are videos and just some reading, but you do have to do a test at the end to make sure you pass your certification.
Okay, so at the moment it sounds like there's slightly more variety on QuickBooks because there is an in-person one besides the online, which sort of nudges it there. But as both of you have done training on both, let's just for the minute think about just the video courses. Which video courses did you prefer, the Xero or the QuickBooks ones, Victoria?
I mean, I think I'm biased because obviously I'm Team Xero, but yes, I did prefer the Xero ones. I found them a little bit more interactive. I found with the QuickBooks that you were kind of just listening and maybe not absorbing as much as you would with the Xero, because it would be like a little short, maybe 2 or 3 minute video, and then you'd like read a little bit, do a test, and you were like, oh yeah, I know how to do that. Whereas I found the QuickBooks was quite long in the sense that you had like a 20-minute video, and then you have to do the test at the end of all the videos. So yeah, Team Xero for me.
Okay. Olivia, so
I do have to
comparing them.
I find that the Xero ones are actually a bit more structured, but QuickBooks will give you that bit of information that you need in that moment.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think what we'll do is, if we just do a fair comparison, for most people would be training on the videos. At the moment, we'll so round 2, 0.
0. Woohoo.
Okay, let's go. Next one. So, next one, which lots of people really get excited about, is the banking modules in software, because they think, oh, great, the banking module, it's all automated, it does it all for me. Well, does it really? How do you find the banking module in Xero?
Yes, so they have the functionality to add as many bank accounts as you wish to the Xero platform. You can choose whether you do a direct bank feed or you just have it as an import every month, which you can do via like a CSV file. But most of the time, if you've posted an invoice or an expense and then it comes out the bank, it will automatically recognize it, and then you can then just click OK, and that is the transaction dealt with. However, there are some times where it doesn't recognize the transaction and then you have to manually find a match. But I find the find a match system very easy to use, or if you've done a part payment, then you can just select part payment. So yeah, I think it's a very easy software to use. And if you do something wrong, you've matched payment incorrectly, you can just go to another tab and then just undo it and then rematch it to the correct invoice.
Okay. Olivia, how's the banking module in QuickBooks?
This is another one of those areas where QuickBooks and Xero runs parallel. You can match them to invoices. It will find it for you. There is an algorithm that will take into account where you have posted items before and suggest it. However, it does need to be manually okayed and posted, just like Xero does. However, one thing that I think is better in QuickBooks than in Xero is the reconciliation. Sometimes a bank feed may not necessarily be 100% accurate 100% of the time, so it's always good to have that check, and I find the reconciliation function within QuickBooks to be better.
Yeah, I personally find that a comfort to have that, and it doesn't seem to have that in Xero. Am I
on the accountant side to go into and see it has been formally reconciled to a bank statement balance?
So Xero just pulls off a reconciliation report that you could manually do, but it doesn't have the functionality of pulling all the transactions that have been matched off in the bank to then a balance that you've put in. So that is a downside, I suppose, of Xero in that sense.
Yeah, I think from some people's perspective, they will prefer the Xero functionality because you're not having to do that reconciliation function. However, I have seen the Xero being reconciled, but then something still coming up in the feed that's earlier, which just seems bizarre to me. And so I'm going to judge this with my accountant's hat on. I feel more comfortable with the fact that I have a reconciliation process. So I think this one I'm going to give to QuickBooks. Okay. So imagine that, so you've got a client that's already on Sage. That's either Hooray or whatever you think. But Sage still does have lots of good functions, and so there are lots of people that are still using it because it's used it for donkey's years. Why change it if it's not broke? However, they're ready to go onto the cloud. They've, for whatever reason, decided not to go onto the Sage cloud version, so they're looking at either Xero or QuickBooks. How easy is it to transition your software, and what sort of time frames are we talking about? What sort of cost? What are you having to put in? How can it go wrong? Sorry, lots of loaded questions there for this one, but because it's not a simple thing, this one. So it always the question's wrong, how easy to transition software. I probably should be saying how hard is it to transition software. But we're going to be positive. Victoria, how easy is it to transition from software from one to the other? So say I'm on Sage and I'm going into Xero.
I think it depends on how much data you want to transfer. Because when you are transferring loads of historic data, there is the risk that obviously some things can get missed or they're duplicated. So we would always recommend having an external company do the transition between one software to another to ensure that nothing does go wrong. However, we do also recommend that you do manage that yourself as well to make sure that nothing is missed.
So someone like Move My Books, for example, who does it all the time. So you do something like Move My Books. They usually do a certain period of amount of data free. If you do lots of historical, they will then be charges, but usually the first couple of years are free. But I just want to reiterate what Victoria said. Even if you use a Move My Books or a similar type of business, you still need to be very careful, because we still still see things go wrong in the transition. So Olivia, what's your perspective on how easy it is to transition software?
It really depends upon the type of transition that you want to do. If you want all the historic data, this is where QuickBooks isn't as good as Xero. I'm honest.
So you're turning Olivia already. Okay.
Just simply because we use Move My Books when we are transitioning data from Sage to QuickBooks or Xero. And they do charge for QuickBooks, but not for Xero. So
those things can change, but sometimes it isn't all that. So do look at what the current offers are at the time. Talk to your accountant, and they will be able to advise, because there might be another one out there. So okay, as of today, might be charging, but they're not. When you're watching this, they might not be. So just pinch the salt on that.
Also, there may be other softwares that will do the transfer and won't charge. But that's only if you need historic data. If you don't need historic data, then you can just simply use a cutoff, a year end, for instance, where you stop posting on one software and start posting on the other, and your accountants will transfer the opening balances over.
Okay, so it sounds like there are processes for both. You need to, if I can summarize, you do need to project plan these things. You can't just mindlessly transfer over. It looks like because at the moment Xero, you can do it for free on Move My Books. It gives you a slight edge, and so I'm going to give it. This is very close, because actually I personally think both are the same, but I'm going to give it to Xero on this one, because Move My Books so it's probably because Xero is paying for that at the moment.
Yeah, they are. Sage will also pay for the migration into Sage.
Yeah. So QuickBooks, get your finger out and start paying again is the message. Okay. So we've got some questions up. Okay. Right. We've got a good comment here. So good. If this is the Chris that I think I know it is. So he's definitely got a lot of experience, saying we tried Move My Books once and it was a disaster. Wouldn't use it again. We would just suggest starting with a clean page without historical data. That is a way to go. Lots of clients do like to have the historical so they can do the historical comparisons. So it's your choice of whether you do go historic. I have seen it work well with Move My Books. I've also seen it go as a disaster. So
I know a lot of Move My Books transitions, and 90% of them have worked without a hitch. Some of them have had some issues, and I think I've had one disaster, but that was because it was extremely complex bookkeeping.
Yeah, I would suggest that if you are really wanting to move your data, you use Move My Books or one of the other similar ones. But if it goes wrong in the first transfer, you push back to them and tell them it's wrong and get them to do it again. And if it's still not working, then you've got to go back to option 1 of not bringing in your historical data. But lots of clients do. I mean, I'd hate to not have all my historics in there. I love being able on the software that I happen to use to be able to see every single year comparisons, looking at my revenues going up and hopefully always up. So there we go. Right, we are do keep bringing in the questions. It's really good to hear whatever the people are saying. So let's look at this is one I think is critical one for me. Reports. As you know, I'm a trained management accountant, so I love reporting. I like to be able to pull out lots and lots of difficult reports. I'm so glad the days of having to design your bespoke Sage reports are over, because they took me a couple of ever. So reporting. Let's go, Olivia, first. What are the reports like in QuickBooks?
So as I said in my opening statement, I think this is where QuickBooks really excels. You can take any report and you can filter it, or you can customize it to show more items, less items, in different orders. It's far more flexible. There are a couple of things I found that I can't do, but that's more an exception more than a rule.
Okay. Victoria, what about Xero reporting functionality?
Yeah, so there are a breadth of reports on Xero. I find them very easy to navigate. I think with Xero, I think the comparison reports are better. However, you can't then customize it as much as you can for QuickBooks. So you can't just hide a column if you want to. I think you do then have to manually pull it off and then hide the data that you don't want. But I've never had an issue with the report that it shows me too much data. I always get the reports that I want, and I think that that's sufficient for what I need.
Okay, that sounds quite right. So that sounds like quite easy. I know from my experience, I definitely prefer QuickBooks reporting, so I am definitely biased on that. I'll tell you why. For anyone watching, the reasons why I found it difficult, I know that if I want to do a report of P&L by month from specific months, I can pull that off QuickBooks in about 5 seconds. Xero, it takes me a lot longer.
Yeah,
I can still do it, but it does take me longer. I don't know if that's because I haven't used it so much, but I just find, having to put in the different criteria and that, it just does seem to take longer. The other thing, I just can't get my head around going, which way round are we?
Yeah,
December, November, that does my head in. I'm
get used to it.
I need to see my graph going that way. So on that basis, because I do personally find it quicker to pull out a report in QuickBooks, and
the analysis is easier.
Yeah, some of the quirks is a bit annoying in Xero. I'm going to put the vote. I am the judge in this. QuickBooks for the reporting. Okay, so what next? So we've had 5 questions at the moment. It's very, very tight. We're currently 3 to QuickBooks, 2 to Xero. This is a really key one. Now, this is one of the reasons why I used to love Sage, and then I fell a bit out of love with Sage. The Helpdesk. Sage used to have an absolutely amazing Helpdesk. The people were so knowledgeable. However, I'm not saying that those people are less knowledgeable, but the time to get to the Helpdesk just get longer and longer, and did start to drive me mad. Tell me about the Xero Helpdesk.
Yeah, so that actually is not really an in-person help desk. So there's no phone line that you can call and speak to a human, unfortunately. However, their support is that you raise a ticket with Xero, you detail what your issue is, and then you can let them have access to your account, and then they can find the issue within the account and then reply to you. Lately, they are being quite slow in the fact that it takes maybe 2 hours probably to get back to your ticket, and then if they still really haven't answered your question, you have to then go back and forth. So I agree that maybe the QuickBooks help desk is much better in this sense, because it's nice to actually talk to a human, describe what your issue is, and then get it resolved then and there on the phone.
I must just say one positive about the Xero is I sent one a question this week, and the answer back was a really good answer, but I am an impatient person. Luckily, in this instance, I was able to be patient until the answer came back. But yeah, if I was trying to urgently sort something out for a client and then I'm, waiting 24 hours, that would drive me slightly bonkers. Livia, tell me about how are you finding QuickBooks support at the moment?
So QuickBooks support have a live chat that you can have with a person. They obviously do manage multiple chats. However, it is quicker than 2 hours. I do find that they can be more knowledgeable, but you can also contact someone who will go through it with you. You just need to book it in.
I would just like to highlight, because we had a client have a big problem with the QuickBooks Help Desk over the last couple of weeks. Now, they were using the general help desk. We are lucky because we're platinum partners with QuickBooks. We get through to the platinum help desk, which is really, really good. They did have some serious issues with their help on the general help desk. So I just want to highlight that to just show that I'm not just being completely biased. I'm telling you how things really are. In some ways, I can sort of see I quite like the thing with the Xero. You're going to get an answer with 24 hours.
Yeah.
Although, of course, if they don't quite answer your question right, if you're not answered in the right thing, you're going to then wait another 24 hours. With QuickBooks, I mean, some people don't like talking on the phone anymore. The younger generation sometimes don't. They like to do it. So does QuickBooks have the option to still do an email question? You said about the live bot. Is there also an email version as well?
I haven't emailed them in a while. I'm not sure about that, actually.
Okay.
Live chat seems to answer.
We'll have to check that, because I know we do just tend to get on the phone to them, don't we? Okay. Oh gosh, we're zooming through. So, but I think that does mean at the moment, despite our client having an issue with the general help desk, we do prefer the fact that we can speak to a live human.
Yeah, I think it's better when you've got really urgent things that you need sorting then and there.
And I think from an accountancy perspective as well, if it was something that was in the help, we'd have already worked that out. We're usually asking questions that are slightly more complicated.
Yes. Yeah.
So we do need to be able to talk them through. Okay, we only have 2 minutes left. So at the moment, QuickBooks are ahead. And so what I want to know out there, tell me quickly, there's still time to change my mind. Why is Xero better than QuickBooks? Tell me now, so that I've still got a chance to, before we adjudicate at the end. Put it into the comments. Why do you think Xero is better? Because at the moment, QuickBooks is winning. So whilst we see if anyone is going to be leaping to Xero's defense, you've both used QuickBooks and Xero. Olivia, tell me just two things. Why do you particularly like QuickBooks more? What are the things that are really pulling out why you prefer QuickBooks? And also, what sort of client is QuickBooks suitable for?
So I like the versatility of QuickBooks. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of software. You can change it, where Xero may be more logical, and that will suit some people better. Having the ability to analyze different projects, different locations, different clients, can be really useful to some clients. However, there is a user limit on QuickBooks. It's up to 25, isn't it, Nikki?
Well, yeah, it depends on what software in what country you're in and things. So you've got to be careful about. We've got to be careful about saying how much definite. We've only got literally 2 minutes, so let's. Okay, you've got that. We've got another version of comment in from about Xero. So let's, Tori, you just last chance saloon. Tell me why Xero.
I think Xero is so user-friendly to use. I think it's very logical where all the reports are, everything you need to go. And I also find that there's different ways that you can do things. So if you want to raise an invoice, you can email it directly into the software. There's an app that you can take a picture of your receipt and that will create an invoice for you. So that's mainly good for people on the go. Say you're a sole trader and you need to take all your receipts, pictures of receipts, quickly just do it on the app, send a little picture, that will attach it to the invoice really quickly. So I think there's just a little bit more functionality that you can do, and there are different options and ways you can do stuff. So I just think it can, like, it can accommodate for anybody, whether you be a one-man band or you be a large business. I think it can I can do everything, I think.
Okay, great. So we've got two more comments to put in the mix before we have our final decision. Hardy, really good comment. Reports. So in her opinion, reports are much better with Xero. So she's Team Tory on this one. And must say navigation's much easier with QuickBooks. So that's interesting to see. Then we have another comment from Chris. The three of you and me are accountants, have a view based on years of training and our understanding of debits, credits. But the proof of the pudding is how easy to financial clients find each product. What are your views on their experience and feedback? So that's a good question. So let's just, I mean, I still think I get non-financial people. Some of them do, some of them have liked either. So I try to be open-minded and I show them both and let them decide, because some people like the look and feel of the QuickBooks. Others get more excited about Xero. So, you know, I personally don't find a clear winner. Was it, Victoria, what's been your comment?
I mean, since I've started here, I found that clients want more training on QuickBooks. So they want us to show them how to use it. So I think that highlights that maybe the training is not really sufficient because they still don't really know how to use it. They're still working out the quirks. But I've never had anybody come to me and say, I really need help using Xero. So that's why I think Xero is the winner for me. I think that non-financial people find Xero potentially easier to use.
Okay. Livia, your last comment, what do you find with your clients of the ones that you, so I don't think if you've got that many clients on Xero, because I think more of yours on QuickBooks, but
I find that 50% of clients that use QuickBooks or Xero, it wouldn't matter which one that they use, they would still get the functions that they would need out of either software. It really comes down to, do you want to have a mobile app, and you know what type do you want it to be? Do you just like how QuickBooks looks and how it feels, or do you prefer Xero? Do you want more flexible reporting? It really depends on what you need as a business owner.
So I think then, to summarize it up, today QuickBooks is just nudged ahead. However, if you are deciding which software, I do recommend you look at both, because it's a personal preference in some ways on how the look and feel and the use. And also, you know, if you're trying to do this on your own and you haven't got your accountant support, Xero's got better training videos. So that might be the reason why you go for that. But don't, you know, you're going to be stuck with that software for a while, probably. So don't do a snap decision. Do your research, talk to your accountants, talk to your friends with similar businesses, because on the sectors, I do think that some businesses are better suited to different software, and that's not necessarily QuickBooks or Xero. It might be something else completely different, because you know every business is different and got different things going on. So both fabulous software, we love them both. We like them both. We've got clients that are using them really, really successfully. Things can go wrong on either. So, you know, you've got to be, the software does not do everything. You need to make sure that the information in is good. Otherwise, you will get rubbish information out. Thank you very much. Wonderful debuts, ladies. Great to be with you. Next week we are, just check. I think we are doing,
I think it's year-end planning.
We are doing year-end planning and how to understand your management accounts pack. So that's on the 18th, and on the 25th, we have got a succession planning one with the lovely Mike Ames as our guest. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful Friday afternoon. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. Cheerio. Bye.
Bye, guys.